So this is how I did the full circle brake lights on my car and the other bits. But before we go any further, if you've got any issues about doing this, or if you're thinking, I'm not sure about how to do this, that or the other, don't do it. So take no responsibility. So you need to take the rear lenses off first, the outers. So you undo this plug, just pull it back, and it will pop out. It's two 10 mils, I think, 10 mil nuts at the top and bottom. So undo that and then just pull the light cluster itself straight back. You might need to wiggle it a bit depending how old or how long the cluster's been on. Now it's the outer part of the light that's your brake light, so I've marked that so I don't forget which one it is. I suggest you do the same. So you need to take the bulb holder out. There's 3 securing lugs. I just had a trim removal tool, pushed it in. There's 3 little lugs. You'll see how to do it when you actually get the unit out. So just pull them apart and the whole unit will lift straight out. And obviously you've marked the outer light, which is the one you want to mess around with. So this is just tracing the circuit board back. You can see here this is the run for the negative, because all the circuit all connects to each other, so there's one negative for everything. So taking in mind the one that's the side light and the brake light, that's the positive, so follow it around and see to the connector. So in this it's the second connector down. The one underneath it is the one that we're going to cut, because we're not going to use that on this circuit run. So that we're going to cut, which will enable us to run another line. So we can trick the system into thinking, well, it still will have a bulb, but it'll be relocated. So I've cut the third connector pin thing down off. I've bridged the brake and side light with the red cable that you can see there. So now when the positive's fed through, it will supply both left and right, side light and main light, whatever's going through it. When you do solder, well, put the solder on, you'll need to grind away a bit of the metal or rough it up a bit. Plenty of flux on there, and you need to make sure it's a very, very good solder. So this is what you end up with. Now my setup does have side lights. It has side lights full circle, brake lights full circle. It also has a run to also take side lights and brake lights to the quad mod that I did. And it also takes a run for the indicator, so the inner lens also indicates on my run. You'll see the holes to drop them through. You don't want them dropping through the same area where the connector will pop in, so I've had it on the outside. I didn't want to cut into the factory loom. The bulb holders are a lot cheaper to replace than having to do things with the loom. I thought I'd freeze frame and go back to this because it can, well, it might look a little bit tricky. What we're looking at here is the bulb holder. So where my screwdriver is, just to the right of that, that is the connector that we cut. So that cable I've soldered on, it goes down through the body of the rear bulb holder and out the back. You can see the red cable that bridges the side light and brake light, and then to the where the brake cable is, if you look up and to the right on the side of the picture, that's your negative, and that feeds down into it as well. Now I've got another, if you follow the red cable from the right of the screen to the left, there's another green cable that drops down. Now I'm using that to power the quad lights, and my quad lights do side light and brake as well. If you don't want the quad lights, don't connect that up. And then just to the top of the screen, another green cable which drops down, and that is to take the indicators to the quad lights, well, the inner lenses. So if you don't want the quad light, if you don't want the indicator on in the middle lenses, don't worry about any of that. So all you need is where that red cable is, the green cable above it dropping down, and obviously the earth dropping down as well. Like I said, I wanted to keep the original loom in place, hence why I've done all of this. Just before fitting it all back into the car, I wanted to make sure there was absolutely no chance of bridging. It could vibrate a bit, and I just thought for safety. So this is liquid electrical tape. It's basically a liquid rubber. Get it on eBay. It's fairly easy to find, and just with all the joints that you've made, put a nice dollop of that on. It's non-conductive, so you're not going to bridge anything. It just keeps everything a bit neater. Well, I don't really think it's neater, but it keeps it a lot less likely to sort of arc and cause you further problems. So just chuck a load of that on and let it dry. So you can see the two LED bulbs that I've got. I bought mine from Bold Sport. They're not the cheapest, but they've never given me issues. And just check that you're not going to fail anything when you put the connector back in. Now, the run that you're going to have, well, that I've made so that the bulb light error warning doesn't come on. I've got two bulb holders, which are, again, from eBay. I've tiger sealed them together and obviously just wrapped the cable coming out of them. So you're going to connect one of these for each side from the green drop-down cable that we did on the far left of the bulb holder. That way the car is still powering these, but it's going to be hidden away. Sorry, it wasn't the far left drop-down cable we did. It was the connector that we actually cut. So that's going to be connected into this, the positive and the negative on both left and right side of it. So I'm just putting some wire around it so it will hold a shape that I make it to. So I've wrapped it all around, just checked I've put enough on so it will hold it in place, and then covered that in fibre tape as well. So on the rear passenger side, I've just folded away. This is where the warning triangle and first aid kit goes. There's a cavity, really big. There is airflow through it. And what I've done, I've just secured it in there. It's cable tied up. It is able to bounce around, so you don't really want it touching metalwork. You need to check how hot your LEDs run, but make sure it's not going to sort of smash around at the back there, but it has got room. Now you can see me here. These are the Bold Sport LEDs. I'm checking for heat. I've had these on for about 25-30 minutes, and you can see that they really don't run too hot. The cheaper LEDs with the error-free system just use a massive resistor. It gets very, very, very hot. I mean, you couldn't touch it. So you can see me here just absolutely making sure. You do not, and I say this again, if you're not sure, just don't do it. But you don't want any issues with heat and fire. So basically you connect it all up, make the runs from the outer lenses to the connectors, the bulb holders that you've put as well. And this is my end result. So quad indicators on the left, quad indicators on the right. I've not got the video skills to make this look as good as it does in real life. It's sort of flaring the lenses out a little bit. The LEDs, when you turn it on, will check that they're there. That's why you saw the flashing. So there you go, quad braking. The inners don't look quite as good as the outers, but you get the idea. Lights, side lights anyway, brake lights. And it's all good. Like I said, I've said it a few times, but if you're struggling or if you don't quite understand how I've done this or how it works or the theory behind it, please don't try it, because you can run the risk of blowing everything up. Well, not blowing it up, but you know what I mean. My full rear end now is LEDs except the indicators, which I plan to do because I think the colour match will be a bit better with the inner indicators. But yeah, that's how I did it. I accept no responsibility if you brick your car, and if you need any help, just ask.